Alrighty guys, we're back for Bant Artifacts, and this is a Duskmourn standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got all four Novice Inspector. Nice, that clue always comes in handy. We got a couple Haywire Mites. This is one we don't get to see too often. It's a 1 mana, 1/1. When it dies, gain 2 life. Cool. But then also, for just 1 green mana, you can sacrifice this, exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. Awesome stuff. That should do the thing. We got 4 Teething Wurmlets in here. When you see Wurmlet, it's gonna be the MVP. It's a 1 mana, 1/1. It has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Whenever an artifact you control enters, you gain 1 life. That'll really come in handy. And then if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Teething Wurmlet. Cool stuff. We got 4 Gingerbrute packed in. Nice. Got a couple of Glass Caskets for early removal. We have 4 Splitskin Dolls. That name, that art, I am horrified. It's a 2 mana, 2/1 artifact creature, which of course is going to be important. When it enters, draw a card, then discard a card unless you control another creature with power 2 or less, which should be relatively easy in here. We do have other artifact creatures packed in, like all 4 Tough Cookies. Beautiful. We got all 4 Twitching Dolls too. 2 mana, 2/2 artifact creature. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Put a nest counter on Twitching Doll. Then you can tap this, sacrifice it, create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach for each counter on Twitching Doll. Okay, activate only as a sorcery. So the longer the game goes on, the more spideys you'll get from this. Sounds cool, man. I do wonder how often we actually activate that bottom ability. Of course, the tokens aren't artifacts. That's noteworthy to say the least, but just dumping a bunch of spiders onto the board sounds pretty cool. We do have an Agatha Soul Cauldron packed in. That should be fine and dandy. I'll tell you what, there is a lot of Reanimator floating about. Maybe we'll talk about more Soul Cauldrons in the final thoughts. All right, more removal. We have all 4 Unidentified Hoverships. This is a 3 mana, 2/2 artifact vehicle for crew for only 1. It has flying, and when it enters, exile up to 1 target creature with toughness 5 or less. Now, when this leaves the battlefield, do they get that creature back? Nope. Instead, the exiled card's owner manifests dread. That's pretty neat. I think this will do the thing today. We got a couple Assimilation Aegis as well. So it's a 3 mana artifact equipment. The equip cost is 2. When it enters, you exile up to 1 target creature until Assimilation Aegis leaves the battlefield. And whenever this becomes attached to a creature, for as long as it remains attached to it, that creature becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it. That's pretty neat. We have all 4 Zoetic Glyphs packed in. The main reason to be splashing blue in a build like this. The 3 mana aura enchanted artifact is a golem creature with base power and toughness 5/4 in addition to its other types. And then when this is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you discover 3 too. So yeah, pretty good in the right build, right? But there's also some pretty neat things, like we could drop a Zoetic Glyph onto a Twitching Doll, for example. Make the Twitching Doll a 5/4 for a little while, but then maybe eventually sacrifice the Twitching Doll, get a couple spiders, and then also discover 3 on the Zoetic Glyph. I don't know how often you're going to want to do that, but that is like technically something in here that could be kind of neat. The mana base, guys, I'm actually not going to take the time to go over the mana base. Just know I thought about it for a while, and one of the main reasons I'm not going to take the time to go over it right now is we may end up changing it a little bit here and there throughout the video. Maybe not, though. I might have landed on something pretty good. Honorable mentions. Skrelv almost made the cut. Spring-Loaded Sawblades is a card to think about because early removal is very important. And then Surge Engine almost made the cut. The Otean Dissident almost made the cut. And then Annex Sentry is also a great one to think about, especially if you don't have like the Hovership. Hovership happens to be rare, so this could be a great budget trade out. Annex Sentry is a good one. All right, guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. What am I expecting from the build? I have no idea. Let's find out together. Ooh, I like this hand. I know that much. Keeping it. Oh, Orzhov colors. I don't think our Wurmlet's gonna survive, but that's not gonna stop me from trying. Wurmlet, you're alive! Overlord. Ooh, okay. See what they mill here. Oh, Rite of the Moth. They grab a Velgavoth's Faithful from the grave. Okay, we'll get a Coast down. Yep, Twitching Doll into the swing. Totally fine. We're probably in danger, bro. Rite of the Moth. I hope they miss their big chunky Velgavoth. Stable Passage for the turn. Okay, that's probably good news for us. Haywire Mite. Okay. We should probably save all this for removal, but, well, maybe not. We go Coast. Might just swing with the Twitching Doll rather than use it. Well, we could get the Haywire Mite down too. We could go Hovership. Just like, do we play around? What do we play around? You know what I mean? Let's get the Hovership down because it's a vehicle. And we don't, it's up to one target creature, so we can just not do that. We're boosting the Wurmlet. We can tap the Twitching Doll for the Haywire Mite too. We won't put an extra counter on Wurmlet. We'll get a little extra life gain though. So submit 0 first of all. So it's either swing for 5 or get the Haywire Mite down for the turn 2 and then start the ball rolling with counters on the doll. And I think it'll be, oh, you know what? Yeah, no, this is fine. This is fine. Yeah, Hovership doesn't have haste or anything fancy too, so swing for 5, it's a great swing. So we played Hovership literally just to boost the Wurmlet and then also get a vehicle down and established that we could fly in with next turn after we play the Mite. It makes a little bit of sense. We do want to consider the Haywire Mite's ability for this Overlord of the Baelmerk, though. Go tap land. Okay. Well, there's some options here. I'm thinking about the removal. Well, I think, first of all, we'll want to get the Haywire Mite down, and then we'll power that up. I guess, should we play around a board wipe? I guess not. I guess we just gotta go, right? I'm pretty sure we just gotta go, go, go. And I hope that's okay. Okay, Hovership. We'll swing. They probably chump the 4/4 and take 5 here. Down to 8, and if they don't wipe the board, this might be looking pretty good for us, guys. Tapped land's great news, although Sunfall might not be their board wipe of choice. Yeah, GG opponent. I feel like we got a little lucky there. It didn't seem like they saw too much, and we really, really saw a lot. Overall, right? Like, if they were able to get even better blockers down, then we would have had great targets for all this top-end removal and whatnot, too. When they milled earlier, they didn't really hit too much, too. I guess hitting Rite of the Moth is kind of sort of fine because of the flashback, but 6 mana is pretty steep. They definitely want this as 4 mana in their hand. We don't know what was in their hand. Either way, they would have needed more chunky things in the grave, too, so, yeah. No board wipe from the opponent either. Not even spot removal, man. That's kind of that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I feel like we got a little lucky because spot removal for the Wurmlet would have been huge for them for sure. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Hopefully I went over the deck list well enough at the beginning, guys. I feel like I've been going over the deck list very oddly. Hopefully I'm doing well enough there. Sometimes certain deck lists are much, much harder to go over than others for some reason. Oh, no green source. Oh, this would have been beautiful, dude. Oh, I love seeing double Wurmlet. Yeah, no, we got to mulligan this, unfortunately, guys. We're on the draw. There's I guess a good chance of seeing a green source. Not terrific chance. Yeah, no. Don't even think about it. Yeah, just get rid of it. We're splashing blue. We can easily get rid of the Assimilation, keep everything else, but keeping 3 mana could be pretty steep. Actually, Twitching Doll's in hand too. I'm going to send a Plains then. Totally fine. This hand just got 10 times better. The mirror colors. Oh, jeez. Wurmlet's alive! I'm going to make that joke every time. I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe it. The big thing here is like mono red is so fast that everyone, no matter what, has to play super early removal, which unfortunately is terrible to use for other creature builds like this. Hushwood Verge is great. Nice. Okay, we'll get Twitching Doll down. We'll swing with Wurmlet for absolutely no reason. If we were like in the middle of the game and there was like a potential, well, there could actually be reasons to swing. If we were up against like white blue or something, then swinging for the sake of getting around a split up, because split up could hit both of our untapped creatures. That's actually interesting to think about. Okay, they bounced the Wurmlet, a little bit of tempo with the Flood Maw. Another Verge is not terrible. I feel like we're going to need to save our top-end removal here. Wow, wow. One with the Multiverse chilling in the grave. Yeah, we should probably save this. We'll get the Wurmlet back down. Do we just, like, dump everything? Oh, man. I never know when to play around board wipes and when not to. I really don't. I think I'm just gonna not. Yeah, I think I'm gonna not play around board wipes. We'll swing with Gingerbrute, and then we'll play the Novice Inspector this turn too. I was trying to think, if we pace it out properly, we could get more counters on the Wurmlet and whatnot as well. But I think this is fine. It also gives the Wurmlet Death Touch, so we can swing into the Archaeologist next turn successfully. That being said, we're going to have enough mana to play Inspector next turn anyways. With our 4th, that would be an extra counter if we don't play the Assimilation to remove something. Yeah, we could have boosted the Wurmlet that way. Still would have gotten Death Touch next turn too. But we don't know what we're going to see on top. We don't know if we're going to want to draw with the Clue too. I guess that's a possibility. Cruelty of Gix. Squirming Emergence. A whole bunch of land. Oh, buddy. And then don't forget Founding of the Third Path next turn. They'll be able to recast the Flood Maw. So they're probably going to tempo out our Wurmlet again anyways. Unidentified Hovership is okay to play on the Archaeologist for the turn. And then, yeah, keeping this back is much better, isn't it? Kind of want to keep getting more counters on the Twitching Doll. Maybe I will end up drawing first. We'll have 3 open still for the Hovership. And then the Hovership will still be the extra artifact to give the Death Touch back to the Wurmlet too. Soul Cauldron, dude, nice. What a draw against a deck list like this. The question now is, I guess we do that, right? Soul Cauldron's pretty huge. A really good draw. And I guess we take the Into the Flood Maw, because that's about to be what... Well, they're going to eventually... Oh, sorry, opponent. It's taking me forever. Into the Flood Maw might be the grab before anything else. Although, I guess we could have waited. Oh, well. Oh, well, we're fine. They still have a block here. I'm just going to keep the Novice Inspector back then. They do... completely chump for the Wurmlet as a 3/3. Makes a lot of sense. Squirming Emergence hits the Archaeologist. Oh, actually, they decide not to cast it. Squirming Emergence was at 6. It couldn't hit the one with the Multiverse, but they decide not to cast it to bring anything else back here. Wait, squirming? Wait, huh? Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Did they have enough to bring back this one? I guess they only needed 8? Oh, I should have hit the one with the multiverse for sure, guys. I was so worried about them tempoing the Teething Wurmlet. First of all, I don't know why they didn't cast the other emergence for free. Is it because the Founding the Third Path didn't hit the grave yet? I am hit with confusion. I apologize, guys. We really, really needed to take care of this one with the multiverse in their grave with the Soul Cauldron. Because now we might have a lot of issues. Target creature card from your graveyard. Alright, so wherever they target, that's where our Soul Cauldron's going to do. That's what we're going to do there. I guess we... I don't know. I guess we full swing, but I'd like to buff the Wurmlet, maybe? No, we should keep all removal in hand. It's a little awkward now. Every turn they're going to have a free thing with the one with the multiverse, which means slowly but surely we're going to start falling behind. Let's see what they end up doing with the cruelty, because... I'm just going to grab one of the one of the 2-drops. And then we target that 2-drop with the Soul Cauldron. And then we put a +1/+1 counter. I'll put it on the Twitching Doll. No, Gingerbrute. Twitching Doll might already have a little bit. So if we would have... Okay. Okay, we might be okay for now. Portal to Phyrexia. No, this is totally my fault, dude. That's brutal. Oh no. Which ones do we value the most? It can't just be Wurmlet, right? Maybe it's the Twitching Doll. We can pick up Gingerbrute with the Agatha Soul Cauldron. Maybe it is value Wurmlet, since I have no idea. Twitching Doll could have been great too, though, to get a bunch of Spideys back on the board. Oh crap. Okay. Okay, we're in trouble. Okay, good. That actually works out nicely. The 0/3 means we get some card draw here. Unfortunately, our removal is for creatures, and so this has been super brutal. I'm going to save Tough Cookie for next turn, guys, because that could be a good hasty way to get through. I can't believe I did not pick up that one with the multiverse with the Soul Cauldron. That's so silly, man. Let's grab the Gingerbrute, I guess, with the Soul Cauldron, and we'll put that onto the Wurmlet for the turn. We're just going to let them chill with the Jace for now. I think we can still get there. I hope we don't get incredibly punished. Might play Hovership. That way we could potentially swing in the air. If they play a chump blocker or something. No. No, this is okay. Yeah, we should... If they play a chump blocker, we play Hovership and we can pick it up anyways. The thought process. Get some reanimation. They decide on the Twitching Doll. And I hope they miss big things. I hope they don't have another 9-mana card to play for free. Oh no! It's Valgavoth! Bro, okay, first of all, they gotta go -3 on the Wurmlet again, because it has the Gingerbrute's ability, so we can get underneath all of this. They're gonna go mill on themselves, see what they find. If we can successfully get this Wurmlet through, guys, man, I really hope this game doesn't come down to me not taking the one with the multiverse. Come on. I'm afraid to see what they have over here. Looks like they missed. They missed their big thing. I mean, and let's be real, all their big things are on the board right now, dude. If their last card in hand is removal, then it is what it is, right? It's just going to be the opponents at that point. If it's not removal, however... Okay, we can start with the draw on the Splitskin Doll. Gets the Wurmlet to a 6/6. We could also go... Okay, more mana. I guess we'll go Soul Cauldron onto the other Splitskin, right? I guess we'll take like their Picklock Prankster. There weren't any other creatures in their grave, right? Now this Splitskin Doll also has the ability to get through. Oh, I guess we could have sacrificed some 3 non-land permanents. No, we would have lost everything, right? All right, Gingerbrute's ability. Like, they didn't concede, and I think there's a reason. I think that last card in hand is removal. That's not going to stop me from trying, guys. Let's do this. Since we put it onto the Splitskin Doll, you know, we're swinging for 9. If they remove the Wurmlet, of course. Okay. They go down to 3. They go back up to 12 next turn. Then our other Splitskin Doll can get the Gingerbrute's ability as well. We got 6 on the board. Tough Cookie specifically reads non-creature artifacts. If we play Tough Cookie, power up Agatha's Soul Cauldron, we don't have a way to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. Opponent? Is that last card in hand not removal, opponent? It looks like maybe I didn't get punished, guys. We might get there. The opponent has left the building. We'll see what happens. Man, we really had to do a lot here to get around all the extra value that one with the multiverse brings. So I think one of the big things, I think that the Founding the Third Path had to hit the grave for them to have 8, and then the Squirming Emergence could hit properly. And it was the Squirming Emergence from hand. Did they already have 8 though? Because they exiled the other Squirming Emergence. They had to, with the Founding the Third Path bottom ability. Because it doesn't say exile up to 1. So did they already have 8 and I just like completely overlooked that anyways? Full swing. And it goes through. Let's go. Oh man, I was really sweating, guys. I know you guys could probably tell even without me saying it so many times. I was really worried that my misplay was going to just be the reason we lost, but wow, we have a lot of value. Wurmlet, just always an MVP. That's why turn 1 Wurmlet, sometimes, depending on the hand, there might honestly be hands where you wait for a turn 2 Wurmlet, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if that even comes into play today. Guys, while I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And then also, if you enjoy the video, make sure you drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well. It really does help out the channel. Opponent goes first. I don't know how I feel about this hand. That's a lot of mana. I'll tell you what. The games have been pretty spicy so far. Let's go ahead, keep the 7, see what happens. Let's push it to its absolute limits. And, yeah, as long as we don't see more mana for a little bit here, this could be really, really good. All right, Gingerbrute, let's see if you get an Elspeth Smite dropped on you. No Elspeth Smite. All right, Lightning Helix. Could be open. Making the decision of, do we let them untap and then they counter our Helix, or because we have blue in here, so I agree with the opponent's decision. Just get it over with and don't run into anything suspicious next turn. Yeah, since they don't know what's in here, makes a lot of sense. Our removal has kind of been missing a little bit, hasn't it? It kind of feels like it's been missing. There hasn't been a lot of like amazing targets. in the first game, what did we even hit? Like, we even played a Hovership just for the sake of playing it. And then, yeah, the first game, we hit a 1-mana card. Did we? I forget if we actually had to take one out. No, they ended up chumping. I forget if we took one out of the equation with our removal or not, but kind of just been chilling. Usually there's going to be pretty good targets, though, like all the time. Oh, Teething Wurmlet. That's going to die for sure. I'm thinking Hovership, maybe set up the Glyph next turn and play the Wurmlet too then. If we're going Hovership, yeah, it's awkward. Usually it'll hit a thing, but it's fine. Just get it down, get it established. We might go Wurmlet into second Hovership too. We could power up the first one, swing in the air. Boros control should be super scary when we have this slow of a start, guys. Very slow start. Probably should have been a mulligan, but hey, I like to test it. It's gonna be a high noon. All right. There's something we don't get to see every day. Oh, a second Wurmlet too. Wow. So each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. That definitely slows us down a little bit. Especially with the second Wurmlet. Then for 5 mana, they can sacrifice it, deals 5 damage to any target. So we can power up the Hovership if we play a Wurmlet, or we could just play Zoetic Glyph on the Hovership too. It's probably a little better to do that. And that's our one spell for the turn. Yeah, 5/4 should be a little tricky for them to destroy. Well, no, not necessarily. Get Lost is a card that is also played in Boros control. Nice. Getting 5 through is huge. And of course, what's great about this too is if they kill the Hovership, then the Glyph is going to discover 3. Carrot Cake. We fly over top of those bunny rabbits. And we actually have a target too to pick up with the other Hovership. But yeah, one card a turn is rough, dude. Especially when we're seeing all this. I guess our one card's going to be Wurmlet, fly in the air with the Hovership. Yep, let's see. Gonna pop the Carrot Cake, it looks like, for the turn. They're gonna go back up to 15. We'll get the Wurmlet down. Even if, you know what? Even if we could play more, maybe this is the type of deck where we'd want to play around a Sunfall anyways. So, like, if I was able to just dump everything onto the board like I would have wanted to the last couple turns, maybe that would have actually been really bad for us too. We are sitting on the Wurmlet here. Sitting on the Wurmlet. Okay, Wurmlet comes down. Putting the Glyph onto the Hovership is actually just really cool. There's the Carrot Cake. So back up to 15. I'd like to pretend that there's a 3-turn clock on the opponent, but I can only imagine this Hovership isn't going to last a couple more turns. Luckily, Discover 3, I mean, we could find another Hovership. Oh, they're going to exile it. Okay. Okay. We actually have ways to get rid of the Reliquary. We have to watch out for the ward, though. See what we discover. Oh, Glass Casket. Dude. Nice. That's something. We'll play it. Pick up the bunny rabbit. Now our Wurmlet can swing on the ground. Maybe. I guess we'll see. Honestly, before they could go pay 2, tap the Fountain Port, sacrifice the token, draw a card. So instead of letting the rabbit get picked up, they could go ahead and draw a card here. I am not 100% sure what else would be holding the opponent up here. Wurmlet gets a boost. That's great news. Let's see if they sacrifice this rabbit, because if they don't, that means they have something else open that they're valuing over the card draw. Yeah, so something else. So removal or something in hand for the Wurmlet is likely. Alright, more mana is not terrific, guys, especially when we can only play one card at a time. Establishing the Twitching Doll wouldn't be terrible, I guess. The second Wurmlet wouldn't be terrible too, but board wipe's going to come down eventually. And eating up both Wurmlets could be pretty bad. So Twitching Doll at least boosts the Wurmlet that's on the board now. So potentially a bigger swing. And then we can't start tapping it till next turn, so I don't think the Spideys are going to come in handy this game either, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind seeing another Zoetic Glyph powering up this Glass Casket. Now that would be very valuable as the one thing to do for the turn, you know? Looking for 3, see what happens. Wow, it gets through, guys. Fountain Port for Fishy. Mirex for Phyrexian. Okay, interesting. Sunfall. No. Okay. This is more mana. All right. Well, the Hovership will come in handy to take care of the Incubator. This is a lot of mana, guys, for this deck list. So actually, I forget how much mana is packed. I feel like we have like 21 lands. Here comes the Incubator. They swing. No blocks. Definitely don't want to lose the Wurmlet to a chump. Inspector. Alright, let's get that Hovership down. So the exiled card's owner, if you exile a token, torch the tower, you monster. Well, we're going to go ahead and see how long we think it'll take for the opponent to win, and if we think it's going to take them too long, we'll go ahead and give it to them so we can get as many games in as possible. Anyways, if there's no actual card exiled with the Hovership, no one manifests, right? So since there's no card underneath this technically, Plains is really bad, guys, but at least we can draw on the Investigate from the Inspector. Based on what we're playing against, I feel safe enough to do this on our turn. Just do it right now. See what we see. Oh, okay. That's interesting. We'll try to swing with the Hovership. Our deck list is totally doing the thing, man. Oh, here we get to test it. Do they get... Yeah, they do not get the Manifest Red because there's nothing underneath it. That's very interesting, actually. I'll use one of the map tokens this turn, see what's on top. It's probably not land. It is land. Well, you know what? I might as well use the other map token this turn too then, right? It's more land! Holy cow, guys. That's gotta be a flood, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the top 40. Oh, and we have one at the bottom, too. That we sent earlier to the Mulligan. Now, if we weren't flooding, it still would have been pretty rough because of High Noon. You know, High Noon's like one of those cards. I'm really shocked we don't get to see more High Noon builds, right? It's kind of a card that was played... It feels like it was played a lot when it came out. And then it kind of dropped off a bit. Unidentified Hovership. I think this will take a very long time for the opponent. I guess we'll swing for 1, see if it actually gets through. At the same time, I don't really want to concede, because I guess technically there could be a way through, but I really doubt it with that High Noon. But there could be something fancy, like they play a top-end Boros creature. We pick it up with the Assimilation. Then we equip this. Like, we have so much mana. Like, that could be a way. We get the 1 through. I'm going to play the Hovership, pick up their 1/1. And Hovership's a way to fly in the air here, too. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the opponent, so always feel free to skip ahead to the next game, guys. I'm pretty sure we're still going to have time for one more game. The games have kind of felt a little fast. Well, faster than this, at least. Go for treasure token. What on earth do they need a treasure token for? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. They pass it back. It's more mana off the top, guys. Oh, no. That's brutal. That's a really bad flood. Sticking from the land, maybe, or just like more spot removal for Hovership. Get Lost would be preferable over a Lightning Helix for sure. Torch the tower. Ah. Okay. They actually use the treasure token for the bargain for the scry, I'm assuming. They must be looking for ways to close out the game, right? They must be. All right, one more turn, guys. One more, because I think they controlled us enough to say I don't see a great way through. Not without, like, a big old chunky creature on the Assimilation. And I don't know if this is the type of deck that rocks an Atali or something. Oh, grabbing an Atali would be crazy, because we have so much mana. Could actually potentially flip it and stuff, too. Inspector, let's see what we draw on it. And then contemplate that concede. By going another treasure, I can only imagine it's going to be like another Torch the Tower turn then, right? They're just going for the scries. It is sticking. It is, in fact, a sticking. It's land. Let's concede, guys. I don't know. Wow, we get the 1 through 2. Man, this is one of those ones where I really don't know. I want to concede. I want to play another game. But there's technically a way if they have a big old chunky creature. Let's go ahead and while the opponent like takes their time, I'll go ahead and pause and we'll try to take less time for a couple more turns here. Okay, they went for card draw on the Fountain Port and then Mirrex token. Sunfall number 2. I guess the Sunfall tokens, that could be a way through. Wow, Splitskin Doll is actually pretty good. Again, only 1 card per turn with the High Noon though. Is pretty brutal. Okay, I am gonna continuously pause though every time it gets a little held up because it did take the opponent till the end of the last timer. Oh no, there they are. I'm getting a little concerned with how far we are in the video, so I'm being very picky. It's more land, guys. Okay, now we concede. Now we drop the good game. We've been controlled. We were waiting for the opponent to drop the big thing, but I think that this game could literally go on for another 10 to 15 minutes. It really could, especially when we saw the opponent opting for like the scry on the bargain. That means that they were looking for their top end, and you never know. They might take quite some time to find it, and if it takes all that time, while they're not finding it, they're just finding more removal and more board wipes. So we were completely controlled with that High Noon on the board, especially. Not able to run out multiple things. However, we did run into that Sunfall, so if we were able to run out multiple things, the Sunfall was going to clean it up anyways. I think that would have heavily leaned towards them regardless. Alright guys, the last game of the evening, and I think we could end on a high note. It has felt that good so far, luckily. Okay, we don't have a white source. There's a lot of white sources packed into the list. Gingerbrute, Soul Cauldron, Zoetic Glyph as long as we see a third, and our third could be a white source. No, I'm gonna go for the mulligan, guys. I think we can do better. And I think that the deck list can truly end on a high note. Alright, Verge is not a white source until we get a forest or a plains down. Outside of that, we can play everything else except for our top end, and our top end doesn't need play yet. This is much better. I will ditch the Hovership because it needs double white, and we might not get double white. If we see a forest off the top, then Hovership is the weak link in the hand, unfortunately. How you guys feel about that? Wurmlet, go, go, go. We can do this, buddy. A swamp. No, not anything but the swamp. Oh, we don't have the white source. I was like, hey, heck yeah, Splitskin Doll. But no, it has to be the tough cookie. Come on, Wurmlet. Yes. Wow, we're getting lucky. The opponent's not having early removal here. No cut down. Need that white source or a forest. Actually, yeah, there's just a lot we could see off the top that could help us play our hand. Our Gingerbrute's gone. That's not good. We needed that Gingerbrute if we missed the land next turn. They might not pick the Gingerbrute, guys. I mean, if they're not looking at our mana base, they go for the removal. They decide that, we must have thought that there was a good chance of seeing mana, right? The Glyph is pretty good, because now any land we see off the top, the Glyph will be excellent. Let's get the Gingerbrute down. Activate the Gingerbrute ability. Although that would be a good trade for us. No, it wouldn't. Well, I can't decide if that would be a good trade for us or not. I guess, yeah, because the lifelink would be gone. I don't know. Opponent's down to 12. We desperately need to see that white source. Because Splitskin Doll would be really great, but I guess any source because Zoetic Glyph is so dang good. Oh, Unstoppable Slasher. Okay. Okay. Any source, Zoetic Glyph. This is such a problem, dude. We could die next turn. They could drop a swamp and play the combo. Maybe we need to keep a blocker back. A chump blocker with the Gingerbrute or something, right? They don't know that this is the Glyph. Going Glyph onto Gingerbrute, they probably just trade into it. Maybe they trade into it regardless. Maybe we'll keep the tough cookie back. No, I'll go onto the food. Okay. Okay. There's a lot to think about there. Okay. We don't want to die on the ground. If we get 8 through and they block tough cookie, I guess this is it. If they accept one of these trades, it's fine. They do accept the trade. We get to discover 3, and there are so many pieces of removal we could hit that would be pretty good. Because we would clean up the bat. Another Glyph is excellent, guys. So luckily this is stunned for 2 turns, right? Or how does this work? 2 stun counters, okay. Alright, yeah, Zoetic Glyph on the Gingerbrute for sure. See that? See that 4th mana? It's gonna be Liliana. Okay. We could...
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows.
We could sacrifice the Gingerbrute and discover 3, but I don't think that's what we do. I think we sacrifice Tough Cookie. The 5/4 is just much more valuable, and eventually they're gonna kill it with something else, right? They decide if you want to swing at the Liliana, go for it. There's our white source, guys. All right. Oh no, we don't have a creature with 2 or less. Oh, it's still an artifact creature. We just play this. We're gonna draw and discard. It is what it is. It's totally fine. Because we have 9 swinging through then. It was land. We didn't need it. Didn't even need it. We'll swing at the opponent's face because their +1 on Liliana only affects them for the turn. Come on, guys. I'm feeling pretty good here. I'm feeling pretty good. Their Slasher's still tapped for the turn. There's their 4th. They need a couple chump blockers, but this Gingerbrute's going to get around it. So a couple chump blockers, removal for Gingerbrute. And the removal can't be go for the throat. It has to be... They do find a cut down to clean up the Splitskin Doll. +1 on the Liliana. Oh, Bloodletter of Aklazos was chilling. It ended up working out nicely for us. They do get Another Slasher down, but guys, the Gingerbrute ability gets through. Easy peasy, huh? Very nice. Just swing with the Gingerbrute and be happy about it. There we go, guys. That could have been anyone's game. I think when they blocked... Oh, heck yeah, I had fun. They blocked with Slasher. Traded into the first glyph. That was probably still a pretty good play. Instead of letting the 5 go through, because we were putting a lot of pressure on their life total. And it depends too if they had the Bloodletter available in hand, and then also if they had their 4th mana in hand too. So we didn't know like what was in the opponent's hand and what order they saw things in. So I do think that the block with the Slasher was still pretty darn good. You never know how much of a risk that is when you're discovering 3, when the opponent's discovering 3 on the glyph, you know? You just never know how risky the blocks actually are, or removal at that point too. Guys, the deck list kind of sort of felt pretty good, didn't it? It kind of felt like it was doing the thing, and the splash of blue was just terrific, actually. So let's go over the deck list again. Bant artifacts. Okay, few things. Sometimes the mana base held us up a little bit, and we flooded that one game. 21 land. Oh, buddy, was that ever a flood? That was a really bad flood in that longer match, right? I think so. How many lands did we end up seeing by the time we conceded? Like between 12 and 14 lands. And now, I mean, don't get me wrong, the game went on for a while, but at 21 mana, I don't know about that. That was definitely a flood. Sometimes I'm back and forth on like, oh, was it a flood? Wasn't it? Like, it didn't really feel like it. I guess maybe a couple cards, but no, I think that one definitely was. Aside of that, it's a 3-color mana base, so of course it's going to hold you up sometimes, but overall, it felt pretty clean, didn't it? Let's talk about the mana base a little bit here, because I didn't really go over it at all at the beginning, right? So if we look, we're majority white sources, then we got green, and then we're splashing that blue, and we're splashing blue for Zoetic Glyph and the Assimilation Aegis, just more exile removals, great. And then Zoetic Glyph is just absolutely amazing in the right build, so definitely worth the splash. And that's all we're splashing in here because, well, there probably could have been some blue cards that I could have put in the honorable mentions. Actually, did Surge Engine make the honorable mentions? That's technically, we can count that as a blue card. Also, if you don't see any of your blue sources, Twitching Doll is also mana fixing. So anyways, majority white, let's talk about the mana base. We got that majority plains, then we're looking at the forest. And then, since we're mana fixing on cards like Twitching Doll, which is green, the Hushwood Verge is usually green until you see a forest or plains. Then it's mana fixing for your Selesnya colors, right? So even though when you're looking at it like this, if you don't see your forest and plains, it's just a green source, that's okay because we need that green source to mana fix on the Twitching Doll, if that makes sense, right? Then the splash 2 here, if we're looking... We got the splash of blue with green for the Sanctum, splash of blue with white on the Seachrome Coast. So again, we're leaning a little bit white here. We could put Verge in the middle. Scene of the Crime also helping us mana fix for everything if we tap an untapped creature, which could be decent enough. Entering tapped didn't slow us down today because we didn't see Scene of the Crime, but overall being an artifact land should be fine and dandy. As a one of. I wouldn't go up any of these though. I think it'd be pretty risky to go up any. So I actually really like the mana base. I wouldn't change anything about it. And the mana base is actually super fast paced too, which is exactly what this deck list wants. The curve is incredibly low here, average 1.9. We're peaking out over the 2, but plenty of 1-drops to play every single turn. So pretty cool stuff, man. Should we just like go Selesnya instead, drop the blue? The mana base would be a little bit better. I think if you're missing Zoetic Glyph, I think you're missing a lot from the build, especially maybe this build in particular. If we go Selesnya, we might just want to go a little bit of a different route then instead. I think the Bant route was totally worth it today though, and it felt pretty good. Soul Cauldron, guys, if you see a lot of Reanimator, go up another one. And be careful with what cards you hit with the Soul Cauldron. Don't do what I did. For one, I thought that they were much further away from reanimating the big chunky things. So taking the Flood Maw, maybe I wasn't even alone on that pick, right? Maybe some of you guys were thinking the Flood Maw was the right choice too. Squirming Emergence can be particularly dangerous, as it can be pretty early reanimation if the opponent is milling enough. So be very careful, but also, yes, if you are seeing a lot of Reanimator, whether it's big Reanimator or a mini Reanimator, then another Soul Cauldron could go a long way. And Soul Cauldron just happens to work beautifully with cards like Gingerbrute and stuff too. So what could you drop for a Soul Cauldron? Pretty much like anything that you don't have in here, right? Maybe you don't have all 4 hover ships, so you could just rock 3 and go up that Soul Cauldron. Maybe you don't have any of these assimilation cards, right? You could drop both of them, go up the Soul Cauldron. And you know what? Go up to 3 Soul Cauldrons. Now, it is a legendary artifact, and 3 could still work well. But again, that's going to be depending on what you're seeing. And if you're not seeing a lot of reanimation, luckily, the Soul Cauldron still works well enough with everything in here. But yeah, if you're not seeing a lot of reanimation, then only a 1 or 2 of is still going to be completely fine. Okay, Splitskin Doll. I like it. How often were we able to just draw a card off of this when we played it? How often today were we able to just replace it? I'm not 100% certain, because all I'm thinking about is that in that last example where we played it and then immediately had to just discard whatever we drew because our creatures were big and chunky, because Wurmlet's big and chunky after a while. And then also we had the glyph on the Gingerbrute too. So I really liked all the exile removal we had in here. It kind of missed its mark today, and that's honestly how I feel about the removal. So I could also see dropping also to, yeah, like the assimilation. This is a mythic. You do not have to craft this if you do not have it. So you could just go up a couple more glass caskets and be completely satisfied, I would say. Or we had some other stuff in the honorable mentions too, right? That could potentially be replace these more expensive cards. However, that being said, I really like the hovership in here. And if you don't have any hover ships, then I think that's going to be a little sketchy, because this is definitely our top end. Like, there's a reason I have 4 of these in here. I mean, Zoetic Glyph is also the top end, but you guys know what I mean, right? And then also being a vehicle that crews for 1 really comes in handy. The flying really comes in handy and pairs well with the glyph too. So it's just like a lot to talk about, a lot of little synergies that really work well. And a lot of these synergies we've actually seen a lot of in the past too, like the classic Wurmlet, Gingerbrute, and Tough Cookie, where we see this line up in Simic cookies all the time. And that's something too, right? If we would have leaned this more Simic cookie and then just splashed white instead, it would have, again, looked like a completely different list and played a little bit differently too. But I think there still could be something there as well. Yeah, it felt good. And I think there's plenty of different ways that we could potentially put this together and where it would still feel good. However, we didn't even see like mono red aggro today, did we? Or Boros auras, which has been everywhere and has been absolutely wrecking my soul. So I think if we went up against some of those, we would have had more losses today too. But that being said, you know, I think we're more than capable of getting there against those deck lists too, especially when we have Haywire Mite in here. And that's another thing too. You're going up against a lot of Boros auras or the mono red too. The ley line is a great enchantment to hit with the Haywire Mite, and then also gaining 2 life is great against those lists too. Gaining 2 life, even if you're just chumping with the Haywire Mite, happens to be pretty darn decent. So if you're seeing a lot of those lists, or actually, wow, there's a lot that Mite could do. If you're seeing lists that are rocking temporary lockdown would just completely obliterate this deck list, being mostly 1s and 2s, right? So then like a 3rd Haywire Mite could be really, really good. And what I could see dropping is like 1 Inspector. But in the longer games, of course, you're going to be popping those clues to draw more cards. The card draw in general felt relatively decent with the clues on the Inspector and the Splitskin Doll also drawing us more cards. And then you can kind of think of Discover 3 as card draw too. It's not really card draw, but kind of sort of like extra card value and stuff. So, okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? My goodness. Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. What would you add or take out? And let me know if you made it this far into the video for real. Y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.